Hello, this is Intuitive Anna Priscilla. After my review and my love affair with the Siren song, Lenormand and Kipper kit that I reviewed a few days ago, I wanted to get back to Kipper reading. I did study with Toni about 5 years ago. It's now Toni Savory. And really enjoyed working with the Kipper cards, but kind of they took a back seat. At that time I was very involved with my tarot and oracle cards, but now I'm ready to go back to them and use their magic again. The Kipper are wonderful because they really explain situations and the personalities involved very clearly. So they're wonderful for the dynamics of what's going on for your querent. Now, Toni Puhle and Stephen Bright, Toni Savory and Stephen Bright collaborated on this deck. It's a beautiful Schiffer deck. You can see in a beautiful magnetic box here that will last forever. And on the inside of the box, there's information about Toni and Stephen. Now, Stephen's a graphic artist, and the style of the cards that are in this set are very close to the tarot cards that he designed, which are called Spirit Within Tarot, which were published by Schiffer in 2017. And they are basically silhouettes. So you can see here we have the main characters, which are like cameos, but the cards themselves are not detailed. They're silhouette cards, very effective, I think, which makes them really universal and generic. This could be any person, any type of person, and very easy to read in the context of a reading, particularly a grand tableau. So I'm going to go through the cards first, and then we'll go through the guidebook, because I think the guidebook will make much more sense once you see how the cards are organized and work. So in Kipper, we always use we have two main characters. They're the main center, and they determine really what happens in the reading. So what you want to have is two main characters that are facing the same way. Now these are facing a different way. So we want to have two main characters that are facing each other, not the same way. And this means they can have a close relationship, but if they're facing the other way, you can say that their relationship isn't doing so well. Now this kit is really good because we have the potential for two men in a relationship or two women. Generally, in traditional Kipper, you would choose, for example, if you were a woman, you would use this as your significator, and then your partner would be a man, even if it was a woman. But they have been very clever here and given you four, so you can really deal with any type of relationship. Now these cards are color-coded within certain groups. So Kipper is unusual in that there are more than just the main characters, which in Lenormand you'd have just the man and the woman and the child. But Kipper has the whole family dynamics. So we have the good lady and the good gent, who are the older generation. These would be the mother and the father, or the grandmother and the grandfather. You can see they're facing each other, so Granny and Grampy fighting. You could see their cards could be facing the other way as well. So these would be the people who are the wisdom keepers in the family, the ones who will give you mature advice, who will help you out, the ones you can go to when things fall apart. They also can show qualities that you need to just demonstrate in a situation, a bit like the tarot court cards. So for example, the good lady is someone who brings joy and support and love and motherly advice. So in a certain reading, you may be the one that needs to show those qualities. They call them the auras in this deck. So we have the older generation, the good lady and the good gent. Then we have the middle generation would be our significators. And then we have the rich gent and the rich girl. So these are the younger, sort of teenage up. So we have the rich gent and rich girl. Again, I love that they're just the silhouettes. Now the rich gent would be a young, up-and-coming young man, doing well in the world, ambitious. The rich girl is the young woman in her 20s who's having a great time, enjoying life. Of course, when they're behind the significator, she could be a bitch. So their position in relation to the main character is important as well. Then we have the infant, who's the child up to age 12, but it can often signify a new start, something small, something you need to take a more innocent, playful approach in this situation. So those are the people cards, and I think they're just beautiful. The next group of cards are the stop cards. So the stop cards in a read will tell you that it's time to stop. This is like the period in a sentence. So if you have a series of cards and you get a red card, it means that's the end of the reading. But in a grand tableau, obviously you're going to have other cards around it. So you will read the other cards around it, but it will also tell you that the energy is stopping here. Maybe you need to take your time with this part of the reading. If you have a lot of red cards, it shows that the energy is stagnant. So these are considered the stop cards. And Great Good Fortune has all the colors in the Rainbow Kipper here, because this is like the ultimate wish of it. You get all your wishes, but it's also a card of great spiritual energy as well. So you can see the auras here. So these again are beautiful cards. Unexpected money, getting something, a gift from the ethers, something you didn't expect, and a great positive upturn. I love the work card. It's very modern. The old Kipper deck, they're plowing the field. Here he's sitting at his computer. Just a great graphic designer. So this is Stephen Bright's style of art. Now within the stop cards you have buildings. So the court would be a court, but it would also be a medium-sized building. It could be an office building or a medium-sized institution, a library, something like that. Oops, sorry. And then we have good outcome again. You see all the colors in this card. So this card is showing to get everything you want. It's in the traditional deck, it's called good outcome and love. But here you can see the cup of success, happiness, relationships, love, peace. So whatever is going on in your life will turn out to be okay. And we have Hope Great Water. This is Distant Horizons. This is the last card in this deck, so it's where we're all heading for. It's hope, expansion, freedom. A letter, which in these days would be emails. Obviously, in the old days, they were literal letters, but you can still get it. But it could also signify documents, anything that's written down. Now, this is the biggest building in the deck, the prison. So this is a large institution, a place where there's protocols and you have to be vetted before you can get in. Perhaps a big corporation, a prison, a large hospital, a big corporate headquarters, but also a prison. The prison can also be an inner prison, so these can also have inner meanings. So you may be imprisoned by your own thoughts, and the cards around the cards in the spread will show you what the prison is. His thoughts. This talks about your thoughts, what's going on in your mind. The cards around it will give you a clue to what that's about. Sorrow. Now the living room is the smallest building or smallest space. So the building and space cards tell you about the environment that the person's in. The living room is your home, your bedroom, your private spaces, where you sit in the morning on a Sunday morning in your pajamas, things you don't want the public to see. So it can also signify secrets that you want to keep, or intimacy that goes on in the living room. So that will also be determined by the cards around the living room. And the house So the living room is in the house. So the house, we have the living room, the house, the court, and then the prison. And those buildings become larger as they go along. So the houses would be your home, your country, your neighborhood, where you belong, where you feel most secure, your family. Then we have the military person. This is the man who puts a stop to the nonsense. He's the one that's the rule keeper. He's also there to protect you. So it could be an actual person, but it could also be saying you need to pull up your socks and get dealing with some of these issues. So those are the stop cards. Then we have the blue cards, which are the movement cards. So this is a card of change. You can see he's gotten in his car, he's leaving the city, he's going out into country, going somewhere new. So this is a card of changing your scenery, changing your job, changing your situation in life. You've had it back here and you want to move forward. Now he could be going an awfully long way. This is a card of a long distance, a long time. So if this comes up, it can tell you that whatever situation you're dealing with is changing, but it's going to take a long time for that to really change. And you can see there's some little turns at the end there before you can see the light at the end of the road there. So this is sometimes said to be a 2-year card. So the long way is telling you that you've got a long road ahead of you. Now the gift card is a transfer of energy from this person who's giving the gift to the person who's receiving it. So there's a movement here. So with this card, you would read the card above. It would tell you where the gift's coming from. And you'd read the card below. It would tell you where the gift's going or the effect of the gift. Could be what it is. So all of these cards, the movement cards, you want to look at the cards around depending on the direction, to tell you where you're coming from and where it's going, where the movement's going. This is a good example of that. This is the journey card. So here the bus is going along its journey. So this card can be a literal journey. It can also be an experience. This is like the trip you're taking along the way. So the journey is not necessarily the destination, it's the journey that's important here. But again, it shows you moving. It's a bigger than your car. This is maybe also a bigger move for you. But if you look at the card at the end, you'll see where they're going, where it's going. And if you look at the card behind it, you'll see where it came from. And then the next group of cards are the connector cards. They're pink. So we have the court official. So this is a card of mediation. You have to make some sort of settlement. You have to answer for something that's happened. There's 2 people in all of these connector cards. So this could be an official that you're dealing with. Could be some kind of a legal process, but it could also be something at work. Another name for this has been the mediator. So this is where you have to sort things out, maybe some conflicting situations. I love that he's sitting down and the woman's standing up. She's got her power shoes on, her high heels. So this is a really important card as far as official and difficult negotiations. Then we have the short illness. Here we have the girl's in bed drinking her tea. Someone's there taking care of her. So this is a card of when things have to stop, you have to give up, you have to rest, you may be physically not well. You can also see behind her maybe what led to this situation. Maybe she's been working too hard and looking forward where her healing may be. This is also a card again with 2 people. It also said to signify sex or intimate relationship. This is convene. This is a card of social friends. You can see they're out in the park. So this is your friendship network, getting together with like-minded people. So again, this is showing connections that you have with others. And again, you could see from the cards around what kind of connections. It might be a business meeting. It might be a wedding celebration. So this would be like a social gathering. And the cards around would tell you the nature of that gathering. And then of course we have marriage, which could signify totally marriage, a committed relationship. It can also signify any kind of contractual relationships you might have. Maybe it's a job, maybe you're married to your work, or any kind of situation that you really are in for the long term. You can't really get out of it. Could be a marriage between you and yourself, or you and someone you really care about. So marriage is a connection between two people or two entities that is serious and binding. And then we have the cause and effect cards. These are the yellow cards. So gloomy thoughts, you could see from the back of him why he's gloomy, and then in the card in the front would tell you where it's going, what is causing this gloomy thoughts. We have sad news. Again, the back card in back of her would tell you what the news was. You can see the phone's here. This is sudden sad news, and then the card in front would tell the result or how that's going to manifest. Expectation. Here he's looking out the window waiting. This is a card of waiting and patience and wondering what's coming next. And you can see maybe the card here would show you what he's expecting. Dishonesty. So what are the effects of his dishonesty? That would tell you, the card in front of it would tell you that. And what's behind this door? What's being hidden here? Theft. Who's he stealing from? Where is he going with it? And fatality. So this is the end of the line. So what's ending? What needs to end? What will be the result of that end? What will suffer as a result of that end? And what may be positive about the result of that end? And the cards around that card will tell you those things. So those are the cards, and you can see they're pretty clear. They really help you understand. So once you've seen the cards, now the book will make a little bit more sense. So this is the Rainbow Kipper book, and you can see here the picture in the front shows you how the cards would look if you had it in a grand tableau, and shows you how much easier it is to read. So now you've seen the cards, you can see this would be a movement card here. These would be stop cards. These would be extra people. You can see they're facing in different directions. So what's he seeing? What's she seeing in front of her? Her line of sight. These are connecting cards here. So what are these connecting? These and this. So this is the way that these cards look when you actually lay them out, which is brilliant, because if you have fancier cards, sometimes it's really difficult to make out the energy flows. Because, for example, when you have the gift here, the gift is coming from this card and then being transferred through the gift to this card. So that gives you an idea what the energy flow is there. And then the book goes through a few spreads here. It talks about the main characters, what those represent, and then what it means, for example, when the cards are not facing each other, or when they're facing each other, what that tells you about the relationships between them. And then it goes through the different colors. So it talks about the green being the extra people that we looked at. And then you can see for each card, talks about, for example, the good gent, tells you about the card. And it tells you about the placement in the spread, what it means. For example, if you're doing a daily card and you're just choosing one card, the good gent would bring support and stability into your day. Or it could be an older gentleman that figures in your day, but it could also be a quality of your day. And then it calls the energy of these cards auras. So the positive aura, if it were in front of your significator or main character, would be good news, positivity, leadership, or gentle authority. Or if it's negative, aura would be negative news, unsupportive, difficult, and stubborn. So if that good gent was behind you, it could be a pain in the butt. He could be very unsupportive. So it goes through those cards, the people cards. Then we get to the red cards, which are the stop cards. And here are all the cards that we looked at here, and again goes through each stop card. It tells you about them. And there's quite a few of those. Then we get to the blue cards, which are the movement cards. Goes through all the different movement cards. The journey card gives a little quotation for each card. Gives you, again, the placement, daily advice, positive and negative meanings. So the guidebook is great. Goes through the pink cards, which are the relationship connector cards. Goes through all of those. And then the yellow cards, which are the cause and effect cards. And then there are a few little readings in the back. So like one card daily reading. It does not have the grand tableau in this book. That tells you, if you're doing a one card reading, what that means. Some other readings, smaller readings. And then some diagrams of different Kipper spreads, traditional spreads. So that's pretty much the booklet. It's a great book. It explains things in great detail. It says this inventive journey, it's talking about each of the 36 cards is described in the accompanying handbook, delving into people, movement, connectors, and cause and effect. This inventive journey follows the first color-coded 36-card Kipper deck created with the reader in mind to forge predictive accuracy at a first glance. Clusters of color allow you to detect situations that will arise without complex reading techniques and makes it simple for you to spot every area of importance in a read that will amaze your querents with accurate reads. So this is a great set. I would really recommend this if you're really starting with Kipper, and even if you've been reading it a long time, just the colors work with a different part of your brain and make it very, very easy to understand how these cards work. So a cause and effect card or a person makes it very easy to understand what's going on with the Kipper. And a lot of people shy away from it because it's been kind of this obscure German deck that no one really knows too much about. Traditional cards are very old-fashioned. But Toni Savory and Stephen Bright have really made this a lively, exciting deck to learn to read. So this is published by Schiffer. I will put the details in the description box. And if you like this review, please like and subscribe to my channel. I will give personal information about my Etsy shop where you can get a reading. And thank you for listening. Enjoy your Kipper journey.